Welcome to the InStory show. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host, and our theme is what does it mean to expand into a new story? And how do you come out of hiding and dare to be seen for who you really are by saying yes to your soul and telling your story? So today I'm thrilled to welcome Michelle Lee. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, happy to be here.
So before we dive in, I'm going to read a little bit about you, and you'll be able to read more once you look below this interview. A holistic, living, nature loving mom and lifelong creative business owner, Michelle Lee brings the power of transformation to all she does. She finds artistic inspiration in the abundant contrasts found in life and the natural world, infusing her work with emotional, spiritual energy as heARTist, teacher, and creative wellness coach. And we're going to get a taste of all of that, which is really exciting. So, just like I make everybody do for this summit, tell me, what does expanding into a new story mean to you?
So, in my world, it means, especially in my path, I would say it means from moving, into our heart space, into living a heart-led life, because we're also in our mind. And in my personal self, it was from moving from heartbroken into a heart-woken state where my heart sort of drives everything I do. And I think the whole world is coming to realize we've bypassed that for a long time, and it's desperately needed right now.
Heart broken to heart woken. Oh, that's really cool. I love rhyming things like that.
Well, everybody, it seems like everyone's walking around with little pieces of heartbreak that they're still carrying. So that's where that came from.
Right. And there is this sense of waking up to something bigger, something more. Like that is this feeling of expanding into a new story that I think we're tapping into, which is we're more than just that physical, mental, get it done, follow directions. Like there's this other consciousness we're all becoming much more attuned to, I think.
Yes. Yes. And by moving from that space into a heart-led, life, you can really find a life living in your purpose, in your power, and in peace inside yourself, regardless of what's going on in the outside world that we can't control.
Right. I know. I always say we just go lift up here and figure out how to function from here, and then we have to be still down here. So all right, I would love for you to tell a little bit about your story. Like, how did you come to do this kind of deep spiritual healing heart art work?
Yeah. So I never thought I'd be teaching anything. I always knew as a child I wanted to be an artist, but like many artists, I put that on hold to get a real job. And as I was going through like a devastating heartbreak in my 40s, I decided out of the blue, like art wasn't even on my mind, but out of the blue, I decided to take a 3-day art workshop over Valentine's weekend and sort of a gift to myself. And when I took that workshop, like I was so out of my comfort zone. I was just like, there, what am I doing here? But, my heart sort of led me there. And I looked around the room and everybody in that workshop was retired except for me. So they were not following their heart until, their to-do list and their prioritizing everyone else and the expectations of the world were over. And I made a decision right then that I was not waiting any longer. And it made no sense financially or responsibility wise, but I decided to follow my path. And within that year, I rented an art studio and I started teaching what I call Wicked Draw open drawing sessions. And people would walk in my class like sheepishly saying, I don't know what I'm doing here. I haven't done any art in 20 years. And my response was, yeah, me either. And here I am hosting this class. Come on in. And that sort of started that journey of taking me in the beginning of that heartbreak into not really my full awakening yet, but like that first step into following my heart again.
And what was sort of the next turning point for you? Like, how did this grow and how did you stay with it and not, sometimes you get that first initial thing and then you're like, okay, no way can I,
Yeah.
it's, so tell us sort of how you kept going and how it progressed.
Perfect question. So after that, I knew I had a lot of healing to do. I was in the midst of, exploring different things, and some things were starting to work. None of them on the traditional, medical or psychological path, although I was trying those things too. So I started looking around for a class that would have a consistent and concentrated approach, combining all these things I was doing, like yoga and meditation and heart math and breath work and art. And I couldn't find anything. But I did find a way to get trained to be a teacher of that. So that's what I did. I couldn't find it, so I became it. And I became my first workshop I started teaching is called Yoga. We do chakra body mapping. And there's a whole range of other modalities built into those workshops that I teach, journaling and sacred space and meditations and things. But there's, a art part of the process where we're expressing our chakra energy out onto paper, and then we witness at the end what our intuition, our spirit has to say. And then, so that was my step like into healing myself through being a teacher. And then, learning as I went with my students in a way that I often learned as much from them teaching that workshop, and still do as I am teaching it. And then I started to really keep on that heart-led path, really building connection to my inner world, to the natural world, to the spiritual world, which I was not even like really that aware of. And I had always had this interest in Tantra when I was younger. And in America, we think of Tantra as a very sexual practice. And uh, I wasn't really in that part of my life where that was my focus anymore, but I still had this little whisper that was always like, Tantra's interesting. What's up with Tantra? And just out of the blue during COVID in 2021, I decided to go to Portugal and become trained as a Tantra yoga teacher. So I had never traveled alone. I had never been out of my country or off my continent. I was unvaccinated. There was zero comfort zone in what I did, but I did it. And in that Tantra yoga training, I found it's white Tantra. So it's this beautiful expansion of white spirituality where the sexual part of it is more about embracing our sensuality, our senses, and our life force energy of the ability to, create new life as another path to our sensuality or our spirituality, that it's just as sacred as every other part of the human experience. And that lit up a whole new world for me. And I started experiencing really magical spiritual things going on. And just to share one with you, do you want to hear it?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
on before my tantra yoga training, there was some preparatory like manuals to read and stuff, and one was a tantric text written in Sanskrit that was like interpreted, through English. And I was studying that late at night one night, and it was so deep that it was really hard to get through. Like it was simple in its writings, but like so deep that I was really stymied. Like I was just like, wow, this is a lot. I'm going to go to bed. Maybe I'll deal with this during the training because that part wasn't mandatory. That was sort of like an optional thing. So I go to sleep that night and I wake up in the middle of the night and somebody is speaking Sanskrit to me out loud. And it wasn't a male or female voice. And it wasn't speaking to me, Michelle Lee, in this human experience. It was speaking to my like higher self. And it went on all night. I went back to sleep, kept going in my dreams. I woke up again. It was still speaking. It went on all night. And I woke up the next morning like, what was that about? Like, I had never experienced anything like that in my life. And I guess it was some kind of download. I never logically interpreted it or anything, but it just felt like it was a gift to me as I leaned into that nudge from my heart to go get trained in Tantra yoga. And then when I came home from that, I started also teaching, yoga and Tantra rituals, but they're more aligned with my creative wellness approach. I don't really teach yoga in a studio. I teach privately or I teach Tantra in combination with the spiritual side, sometimes combined with art and the other meditations and things I teach. Yeah.
Wow. So what did you ever decide anything else that you felt about that whole transmission in Sanskrit to you? Like, did the teacher say anything to you about, did there something else come to you about that?
Well, I talked to my teacher about it at one point, and he felt that like this is a path I've been on through previous lifetimes, and this was some kind of gift to me, reminding me of this wisdom. And it's not really meant to be this conscious, logical interpretation, that it's something like it's this inner fuel, this inner fire. And I know that whether I'm teaching yoga art or my art classes or my rituals, people also have really magical experiences that I am just blown away by. Like, I'm always like, that happened in my class. And so I feel like that's what it did. It activated this somehow like underlying contagious spiritual activation that comes out in my different workshops and coaching clients.
Cool. All right, let's try something out because I know we have a
Okay.
little activity we're going to do with everybody. So
Okay.
if you have colors, you can get them, but you don't have to have them. So,
Yeah, you could just have a pen or pencil, or if you have colored pencils or crayons, anything like that. And I'm going to start with the a modality I learned during all of that part of my journey called heart math, and that helped heal my PTSD. And I'm a trauma sensitive certified practitioner of that as well. So we're going to start with that, and we're just going to do it really short. We're going to close our eyes. And just take a nice deep breath in, let your shoulders relax. Let your mind relax. Just bring your attention to your breath. And then imagine that breath going in and out of your heart space. You can hold your heart or tap on your heart if that helps maintain your attention there. And now activate a positive energy in your heart. So a feeling of gratitude or love. Sometimes a memory of just like the sun shining on your face is enough to help activate that, or maybe a hug from your pet, something simple. And now I want you to think of one thing you need to let go of, a word, a phrase, a person, just whatever first comes to mind. Don't think about it, just whatever comes up when I ask that question. Again, still breathing into your heart, letting your heart lead the way to the next question, which is what do you want more of in life, or what do you need more of? And again, one word or a really short phrase, whatever first comes to mind. When you're ready, you can blink your eyes open, come back into this space, and we're going to do a journaling practice on those two words. So the first word, what we want, or phrase, what we want to let go of, or who we want to let go of. I want you to write that word or phrase down, and then I want you to scribble it out so it is illegible. And you can scribble it out with anger or frustration, or you can scribble it out with love of letting go. So either one. Whatever you decide is perfect for you in this moment. Okay, so I'm going to point my camera down so you can see what I'm doing. My word is expectations. Sometimes that sets us up for disappointment. And so now I'm going to just really scribble it out. Going to get rid of my expectations. Invite you to just really get into this scribble. Okay. So it's totally illegible when you're done. You can make, if you're using a ballpoint pen or something, you can make little curly cues, whatever it takes to scribble that out. You can see mine is totally illegible. Just the way I want it. It's gone. It's disappeared. And you can either do, if you have this plenty of space, you could do on the same page or on the back of that page, your next word, what you want to call into your life, what you need more of. So just grab either the same tool you were using, or you can grab a new one. And mine is going to be a phrase this time. And this is a phrase and actually a song that I just heard recently that's so great. Reminded me, it's a Ram Dass sort of collaboration or mashup, Be Here Now, about being present. Okay, so so once you write that, I want you to just doodle around it, make it pretty, make little shapes. It doesn't have to be anything recognizable. You can grab different colors if you want, or you can just use the same color. You can outline the words, make little stars or flowers. You can fill letters like we did as a kid. Let it be playful, fill the centers of the E's and the A's and the O's. Make the dot on your eye a little heart or a star or a spiral or other symbol that you love. And let yourself scribble a little too. Not everything has to be neat and perfect. Let yourself just sort of dance around with your pen or pencil or colors and see what happens. That's where the magic comes in here. So you find yourself sort of just letting go in this process of what we were scribbling and getting really into this new thing, this new phrase or energy that you want to bring into your life. So I'm just grabbing one color after another, but like I said, you can really be just using a lead pencil too. It doesn't have to be something fancy. And let yourself go out and around it, make different shapes. And this whole time, try to keep breathing in and out of your heart. Like keep that sort of like background attention on your heart space. And you'll probably find at some point here, you'll get a little lost in the process. And you'll just start to get into these little shapes and outlines you'll make. Some shapes can just be like little outlines, like I have some stars. And then some areas you can like fill in with color to show a little of that contrast that I love so much of, line versus thick areas. I'm going to go back in, like I said, and fill in the center of some of my letters because that just feels fun and playful to me. Part of being heart woken and what I call my workshops on the heart woken way is allowing ourselves to just play like a child again. So we are so serious all the time. So here's how simple it can be. Here's my Be Here Now. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It can just be really playful. And I invite you to, you can keep going with it. You can, one of the things I would suggest for this practice is that later on you take that word you scribbled out and burn it. And just watch it dissipate into ash. And then take that word that you're doodling and continue it after this video if you want. You could fill the whole page with your doodles and colors. You could get out watercolors and fill in some of the shapes and make it like a little fun practice of flow state and then hang that word doodle up in your space, like on a bathroom mirror or somewhere where you're going to see it every day for a while and be able to call back that heart-centered energy we just work with and that new thing that you want to bring into your life. I know I constantly needed to be reminded to be here now, and I have another quick story about that if you want to hear it.
Yes, absolutely.
So, uh, just past spring equinox, I was up before dawn as I usually am, and I was going, oh, that's right, it's a spring equinox. I really should go. I live across from a lake. I should go across to the lake, watch the sunrise, and do some little ritual. And in my head, I'm going, no, it's cold. No, I'm not. I'm staying in my pajamas. Maybe I'll take a nap. And then I was like, Michelle, you're going. Like my heart kept being like, but you should go, but you should go. So I went over. I was sitting on the beach. It was cold, really cold still. It was like 29 degrees. I took off my shoes. I put my feet on the ground. I watched, I was waiting for the sun to rise, closed my eyes, and I did that heart math practice. But I did like another level of that where you actually like send that love or gratitude out either to someone you love, to your community. And on that day, I chose to send it to the sun, the spring equinox, and the beauty of nature that was in front of me, the lake. So as I opened my eyes during this, there's a beaver right now, and this is just the beginning, like it's not much longer, this story, but it's the beginning of the magic. There's a beaver swimming right along the shore. There, I see them occasionally, but it was like 2 feet off the shore, and it was like right, almost right in front of me, and it just swam real slow right in front of me, didn't deviate, just took the whole line of the beach where I was sitting. And I was like, wow, that's a synchronicity. That is so cool. This was a gift. So I close my eyes and I'm sending out even more gratitude, like, thank you, universe, for this beautiful magic, this beaver, all about community and connection and work, hard work and so many magical things the beaver energy encompasses, mostly about community and connection. So as I send that out again, I'm sorry, before I even open my eyes, I feel something. Now, I was sitting like on a really low bench on the beach. So my knees were like almost at my chest. So there was like very little room here. All of a sudden, as I'm sending more love out for this beaver and the nature and the spring equinox, I feel something fly right here and hit me right in the heart with its wings. And I'm like, oh my God, I was startled because whatever it was like hit my heart. And I could feel it like went right behind me. So I looked behind me to this bush and there's this little song sparrow sitting there looking at me. And that was this magical gift of following my heart when I didn't want to go to the cold lake on spring equinox. And it gave me this gift of a bird flying into my heart. And I just, those things start to happen the more you follow your heart and the more you get out of your comfort zone to do that.
And you make yourself available for magical moments that are simple.
Yeah.
Right? Like just the
Yes.
beauty, I sometimes the sun, just I recently saw the sun like coming, literally going down and watch it come out from the clouds, be seen, and
Mhm.
then disappear over the horizon. Like just catching a moment. I love that story so much because when you make yourself available, you push yourself out of the ordinary and out
Mhm.
of everything you have to do, and you get outside to somewhere that you have available to you, you become able to see something magical. Like you just become available.
That's absolutely true. And most of these practices that call in that kind of magic are themselves so simple, like
Right.
breath work, like closing our eyes and thinking from or feeling from our heart, like doodling on a piece of paper. When we accept these like simple practices, but make them a consistent practice, like you said, they make us available, and our heart is like calling in the magic that continues then to light us up and grow and lead us on to more things because now we build that trust of like, wow, my heart is like knows what it's doing.
And life is so much more fun like that,
It
right?
is. It
If
is
I'm
absolutely.
feeling scrudgy, like if I go out on my walk and I'm out in nature and the trees here in Portland, I come back and I'm all better.
Yes. Yeah.
Fixed.
That's one of the things I recommend often, and people just overlook it is like just go walk in nature, like
Yes.
regularly, not just like looking out your window, although if that's all you can do on a day, that's fine. But like to actually be in nature, even for 5 or 10 minutes,
Yeah.
it's a go-to for me almost every day. So
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I
All
love
right.
it.
Tell us a little bit about your free gift so people can dive in a little more because it's super fun and uplifting and
Thank you.
heartwarming.
Yeah, it is the Free Your Heart Chakra Challenge. So it's a an online course you can take at your own pace. You can take it in 2 hours or less if you want to do it all at once, or you can do it at your own pace over days and you have unlimited access to it. But it basically is all about empowering your heart chakra. So there's a really nice little quiz slash bullet list in there where you can see if your heart is balanced or imbalanced. Okay. So that's like great because people can really identify like, oh yeah, that's me. Look where I am empowered in my heart and look where, oh, I have work to do. There are some little journaling exercises in there. There's meditation that's lovely, and then the art practice is a more left right brain kind of heart led water doodle or not a water doodle, a doodling practice like this. Like, I'm trying to remember if it's watercolor or not. I know I use pen and ink in part of it, but you can use whatever medium you want. But anyway, that it has like this thing where you start to feel into, here's how my left brain feels when I'm making a creation. Here's how my right brain and my heart that's connected to that feel and what feels better. And
Mm.
it just makes you more aware and more available to that heart-led energy.
Ooh, wonderful. Oh, it sounds great. I love things that integrate different parts of ourselves and different abilities, and that you don't have to know what you're doing. You get to open to something new. So,
Yeah, and so it's really informal, just like this kind of practice. It's not anything where you like need to feel like you need art experience or anything. You just go into it with whatever mindset you have at the time, and it will help you get out of your head and into your heart.
beautiful. Thank you. I love it so much. All right. Leave us with a couple of last thoughts before we wrap up.
My last thoughts would be to really just, you know, if you feel that you're too stuck in your head, with almost all of my students and coaching clients do, to really be intentional about coming up with a daily practice to open your heart. And, this leads into and goes with your spirituality as well. Like, we can talk and put memes out there and do all these things, but unless we have an actual practice in place, we're not going to get anywhere with that. So it doesn't have to be fancy, like Deborah and I were discussing. It can be simple things: a 5 minute walk in nature, a tiny little doodle before you go to bed, 5 minutes of closing your eyes and being still, rather than already telling yourself like, I can't meditate or something. If just the attempt to meditate is successful, is means success. You don't have to be some Zen master in Nepal perfectly stilling your mind. So that would be my advice, to just really put into practice some kind of tiny routine, even if it's just a little shift day to day, and then you add something else a month or two from now, and by the end of the year, you're like, wow, look at all the magic I open to. Look at how much my life and stress level have changed simply by being available to my heart's wisdom.
Oh, such good advice. It does make such a difference, and it just makes us happier to go through our lives.
It does. And to handle all the outside pressures that, especially right now in the world, are people are feeling like really scared. And if you don't build resilience from your heart, you will get sick from
Yeah, and
stress.
right. And we don't have to do that. So I love
Um,
this advice. I love your free gift. Thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
everybody watching, do these things. Like, try it out. See what you love. And as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.
Thanks so much, Deborah.